Welcome. We bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. And we got the same crew from last week, John the Music Nut and Jake Not from State Farm. Brothers, how we both doing tonight?
Evil mothers hiding under cover, always near but nowhere in sight. Hey
Yes.
guys.
Yes. Jake, how you doing, my friend?
I am ready to feed on this baby and take it one on one. There
Oh,
you go.
oh, they are on fire tonight. Oh, I'm in trouble big time because all right, y'all, Year of the Priest, episode 17 now, I believe this is up to. All right. I said to somebody, heaven help us to get through this one because I know a lot of y'all Priest fans, y'all put this at the bottom of your list. And I just want to know why. I think we're going to probably know from John here in just a minute, but maybe I just wasn't there. Maybe it was just like the old song from the if for any of those people who have the Almost Famous movie and you bought one of
Yeah.
those box DVD box sets that had like the six original Stillwater songs. There was a song on there called "You Had to Be There." Maybe in 2001 I just had to be there for Demolition and I wasn't. It was just that this is more of a newer thing for me. So let's just talk a little bit about this. So, recorded between 1999 and 2001. So, kind of a long time here to work on this. Back to the Silver Mirror Studios in Surrey, England. Interesting that Wikipedia puts this under heavy metal and new metal.
hmm
Would come out July 16th, 2001, 70 minutes and 44 seconds. Producer, of course, is Glenn Tipton. Um, let's see. Don Airy shows up on keyboards again. We have basically the same production team as the last time, mostly just Glenn and Sean Lynch. Um, chart wise, there's not a lot to talk about here. Austrian album charts number 50. French charts number 72. I don't think I've mentioned the French charts before. That's a new one. German charts number 16. Japanese charts 22, Swedish number 55, Swiss number 72, and the Billboard charts barely touches it, 165. But again, we're not on we're not in Kansas Toto. We're on a small label, so we're not like on SPV again. So it's kind of with the Steam Hammer folks. So we're not on Columbia, we're not on Epic, we're not on the CBS, Universal, Sony, whatever they're all under now. Um, but Demolition, let's just get into this. Jake, as the guest, I will let you have the floor first.
We have a lot to unpack. I first heard this in November 2001, maybe October. I there were musically Creed, Nickelback, Saliva, Mudvayne, Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, Godsmack, POD. There was a lot of
Slipknot.
Slipknot. There was a lot of these bands like that going around at the time. System of Down. I was listening to all of it. I was listening to all of that. That was what was popular. I was in sixth grade. I was consuming all of it, and I was consuming this bad boy, and I loved it. It stayed in my rotation ever since. So let's unpack it. Machine Man. This song is unrelenting. It opens up with these guitar riffs. Just you've got riffs right out of the gate. Back. This song is Turbo Lover's big brother. He's coming to take your car, your motorcycle, your cigarettes, your lover, and you're going to thank him and sit down on the curb and watch him walk away. This song takes no prisoners. It is a good opener. I
Boom!
love this song. It is heavy, it is fast, it just the guitars rip right out of the gate. There's Ripper's more subdued in his singing. He has several screams, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Yeah, the guitars even right out of the first song launch off of a high note in classic Priest fashion. This song is a great opener, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Still to this day, loved it then, love it now. It's great. Then you go into one on one. This should have been someone's anthem in WWE. It should have been like Batista or Samoa Joe's opening song or something. This is just a good fight song. Those guitars are alarming and urgent and fast and they have a sense of violence to them. They're just really, really killer. And it's a great fight anthem. It goes right up there with Drowning Pool's Step Up. If you're gonna go into work and you know it's those people you don't want to work with, this is that song you put on to psych yourself up to, you know. You're like, I'm not gonna deal with anyone's BS today. This is what I'm gonna do to psych one on one. It's great. And Ripper, he sends the solos home with his vocals again. He goes into these high notes and the solos come off of them. And the solos have great interplay on this song too. Really, really good interplay. And Scott's drumming is on point. Another thing on this album, more so since probably a 70s album, Ian Hill's bass. And you can hear it, and it's got that beautiful Spectre punch. Like we're getting in dangerous Eddie Jackson levels of punch here on that Spectre sound. And I love a good Spectre sound. It's just it's like a woman with a Slavic accent. It's a thing of beauty for me, man.
Jake is on fire today. I'm loving this. And we're only on the second song, people.
we are. This song it's a great one. And I think one on one should have been someone's anthem on WWE. It's a great one. Hell is Home. This is a great song. Top tier Priest anthem. Like you make me pick the Priest anthems. This one goes in the top 10 for sure. And I don't know. This one, it opens with that acoustic ditty, nice little number where it's an acoustic thing, and then Ripper just launches into this. He feels almost like he's like sauntering, like he's got this sauntering like vocal performance, like he's ready to give the middle finger to everyone that's looked down on him. This is a song for anyone that's felt outcast or ostracized by anyone in the world, and it's a great anthem. I don't know about anyone of you guys, but I've never felt like I was going to be breaking the law. I have felt like I was an outcast. And so, especially when you're in middle school, I feel like that's the time where you feel the most outcast. So this really hit when I was in sixth grade. I was like, oh, this is my jam. I remember this was just one of those songs that I listened to over and over. And the solos on here are beautiful. Really, really good solos on Hell is Home. Scott takes a back seat on this solo. He's subdued. He just kind of picks it more relaxed. But this song, top notch Judas Priest anthem. Jekyll and Hyde. It starts off really fast, really, really fast, before Ripper opens up with some of the best wordsmithing of the Tim Ripper Owens era. Your innocence all but fades away as we peel the veneer away. It's all an act which you stage with your two-faced barricades. This is about all those two-faced people, whether they're an employer, a lover, a friend, a family. This is for them. This is those two-faced people. We've all had them in our life. And Ripper's not having any of it. He's singing about it. He's letting us know we got that song in our corner. If we have to go deal with them, you're not alone, guys. This is the song about them. And this song, just the wordsmithing, top notch. Glenn should be applauded for this. Rob would be proud of it, I feel like. Great wordsmithing. And Scott Travis's drums on this song, beautiful. I really love the drums. And again, Ian's bass, in and out on this one. Fast. And it's got that, like I said, that heavy Spectre punch. When you know a Spectre sound, you can recognize it almost a mile away. They have a distinct sound, and again, a beautiful sound close to you. This is the song when I was 11 years old that made me go, where is this guy from? Where's he from? He is not from England. Where's he from? And I had to find out where he was from because in this song he uses that Midwest whine twang to its whole full effect. This is a song. It's about the loss of a lover, and he sat there and he held her hand as she died and watched her eyes close. It's about grieving, but it's also about people telling you to get over it, and they're not being very accepting of the process you go through. You can't force someone to go through that. It's something you have to do in your own time. And I think this is one of the best Priest ballads, up there with Beyond the Realms of Death. And Ripper's whiny Midwest twang just really sends home the pain in that song. The solos soar. They don't soar like they would if they were the 80s. You know, if this was the 80s, they would make those guitars cry. But these solos on this song soar. And you've got harmonics in this solo. The guitars just give this. The guitars, they're not like screaming guitars, but the guitar work in here is top notch. And the keyboard work, very good. Very, very good. This song's 10/10. I love this song. Devil Digger. This is probably one that a lot of people don't like. It's very distorted, very chuggy, very atmospheric. It's Priest's attempt to make a Marilyn Manson song, I feel like. You could throw this song on Hollywood or Mechanical Animals and have Manson sing it and it would fit in pretty good, I feel like. Not a bad song. Is it probably their best song? No, but I feel like it's still a great song. Bloodsuckers. This song opens with this haunting, hissing death rattle, and then you get like pistons slowly pumping as maybe it sounds like kids crying or playing in the background. Lyrically, Glenn and KK are firing back, it seems like, at the trials they've had to go through with PMRC and the Beyond the Realms of Death situation. This is them just talking about how that court situation will turn your life on its head and make everything a circus. And it's unfair and it's mocking to the life you live. And it's a beautiful lyric song lyrically. Bit of Blackie Lawless venom kind of going on, I feel like. I feel like he would probably look at them and be like, you guys did a good job here. Really good job. I
Yeah.
like that song. You didn't hold back. I love this song. Really, really love it. And Ian Hill he has a crunchy, punchy bass line throughout this whole thing. In between, it's more acoustic guitar work at the beginning. And you're being tempted with a question, many questions actually, of something that's in between rage and calm, peace and madness, young and old, friend and foe. The older I got, the more I felt like this is a song about someone dealing with an episode of mania where there's extreme highs and extreme lows. And I feel like that's reflected in the music because it goes up, down, fast, slow, up, down. And the guitar work, the solos are really, really angry and aggravated in here. And once I realized that I used to think this was kind of the dud on this album. But once I realized it was about someone dealing with an episode of mania, I was like, this is actually a song of genius intelligence. Like the whole thing just put together really, really well. Let's see here. We're only at song 9, and it's Feed on Me. This song opens with a keyboard bit, like Touch of Evil almost. This is a banger. Killer riffs, great drums. The bass is probably the most subdued it is on any Priest song on this one. No, just and what that is the recipe for a Priest classic. I feel like out of any song on this album, this should have been the classic. Like this should have been a hit. This should have been right in that set list. It was nonstop Priest classic. Like the vocals, you want to try and sing these right away with them. They're really good, catchy vocals, highs and lows, but they're not too high. And it just everything. You want to sing it, you want to pump your fists, you want to play air guitar. This is a Priest classic through and through. Like if this would have been on even if Ripper would have been singing it, if it would have been on an album with Rob, like majority of Rob Halford, it would have probably been a classic, I think, but it was on this album, so it wasn't a classic. Subterfuge. I feel like this is the dud, but not for the reason everyone else does. This one is very new metal. It has a corn vibe. Very like has that highs and lows where he does a bit of rapping, but then it gets into these Midwest kind of low vibes. Um, and the thing that makes me say it's a bit of a dud is if it were Corn, Fieldy from Corn, whether you like him or not, is an amazing bass player, top notch bass player. And when I listen to this, I kind of want that bass playing, and we don't get that in here. And I like this song, but it's still it's Priest trying to do Corn, and I miss Fieldy's bass work. So I always feel like I want to go listen to some Corn when I get done lit. And I'm not a big Corn guy, but I do appreciate Fieldy's bass work a lot. Lost and Found. This is the other one that's a bit of a dud, but to me, it's a ballad, acoustic ballad. I feel like this is something Music Nut's gonna love on here. It seems like his type of song. It's slower. It's an acoustic ballad. It's and that's okay. The guitar work in here is good. There's really nice solos, but
Shots
it's
fired. Shots fired.
no. I feel like at this point I've listened to you guys long enough. I know his tastes, and I've listened to it, and I'm like, I feel like this is one Music Nut would like, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this one because for me, it slows it down after coming out of all these heavy songs, and you're like pumping the brakes, and you're like, ooh, we're pumping the brakes over halfway through. I like my brakes pumped, a little bit closer to the beginning, but not this close to the end. Um, so yeah, it's a great song. I love it, but it just for me, it doesn't fit quite the theme. Cyberfest. uh, this is one. I think this is the one Scott Travis has a writing credit on.
It is.
It is okay. It's your creature feature. It's kind of up there with Jugulator. It's not as good a creature feature as Painkiller or the Sentinel, but those then you're talking top notch creature features right there. It's a good one. It's about a virus in your computer that you welcomed unintentionally. That was the day and age, 2001. You know, you click something and you wrecked your computer. You downloaded a music unintentionally off of LimeWire and brought a virus on there. That was the name of the game back then. I still like this song, even though it's Cyberfair. Metal Messiah. This is probably the most new metal song on here. Ripper starts out rapping the raps that would do any new metal vocalist proud. I dig it. I dig this song. You've got some church style vocals. He's very versatile on this song. You've got a little bit of System of a Down going on where it gives into these Middle East like kind of vibes. Just very different. I bet this is a lot of Priest's least favorite fans' least favorite song. I like it. I'd love to hear Rob sing it because it's so different. I don't think he would. He would probably be like, if I told him that, he'd probably be like, I don't know, guys. I think that's probably a bad idea here. Um, but I would love to hear Rob sing this because it's so different from anything he has done. I love this song. Of course, it's indicative of what music was doing at the time. I love this song. It closes it. This album, it's not perfect. It's not a masterpiece, but man, do I enjoy this sucker. I give it a 9 out of 10. I enjoy it. When I go for a Priest album, I reach for Painkiller, Defenders of the Faith, Screaming for Vengeance, Stained Class, and this baby. It's up there. Heavy rotation for it. And I do want to take some time to mention this because this has the first version I ever heard of Turbo Lover, I'm pretty sure. And the Turbo Lover on here is fast and heavy. Very, very fast, very, very heavy.
Hmm.
And the Desert Plains on here, Ripper destroys Desert Plains. Just a really good version of Desert Plains on this album. This is another good live album.
Nice.
Very nice. I think he almost made just like Peter made Ram It Down sound like insert your perfect masterpiece here, I think Jake just did that with Demolition.
I agree
Uh,
with that. Just that was fantastic,
that
Jake.
was
Fantastic.
absolutely fantastic, dude.
Well, thanks for having me. One of
Oh,
my favorite things about this series is you've taken some of these divisive Priest albums and you've had guests that are passionate about those albums. And then I've wanted to go re-listen to those albums, even though I've just listened to them. And I'm like, I don't know if I can listen to some of these again. And I'm like, I'm gonna go give them another listen and listen to them the way your guest listens to them.
yeah. That's what's made this series so much fun. Like you said, it's just been such a joy. So, dude, again, that was amazing. So, John, your turn. I will let you have the floor, my friend.
All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. Jake's review is going to be much more positive and, let's be honest, a stronger review than I'm going to give. Um, this doesn't hit me very hard. I listen to this album and I think to myself, well, the 90s and 2000s, we were trying to put as much music on an album as possible. And the albums that we really like, we wait for those gems to come out. I don't hear any gems on here. I think there are a few good songs, particularly early on. But I think this is the one album that Judas Priest made that just isn't Priest like to me. It almost feels like it's Ripper Owens and Judas Priest are like side musicians because you don't hear those distinctive riffs. The solo, I mean, although there are good riffs on here, you don't have that distinctive soloing like you had. And I mean, Jugulator had very little of that, and here you don't really hear it at all. Here, I think they're trying to be followers, but there are good songs on it, like Machine Man, which I think is a better opener than Jugulator was. And at this point, they're going new metal. They're clearly going new metal here. The riff is okay, but and it's a decent bridge on it. But when I listen to this, I'm like, have I heard this before by other bands? And that's what goes through my head a lot on this album. One on one, I'm with Jake. Killer. The bridge is great. Probably the only great bridge on the album, in my opinion. But this is cool, and it does have a great riff. It's got a lot of conviction here. I could see a WWE guy coming to the ring to this, or an ECW guy back in the day. I mean, this would great work well as a theme song for a wrestler to come out to the ring. Hell is Home kills. And I'm not going to say that a song kills much on this album, but Hell is Home does. I love the spooky opening. I love the pre-chorus. It's got a groove, and that chorus is killer too. I mean, yes, it is more of the heavy metal of the time, but a good song's a good song, and this is very good. Richie Faulkner loves this song. Makes you think maybe they'll bring this out one day. Jekyll and Hyde, the keyboards are there in the background, are adding some color here. This is good. It's again, I don't think it's a decent song, but it's got a lot of conviction on it, but I don't think it really stands out. Close to You, that's a decent ballad, has a grandiose feel on the choruses. It's one of the few songs, might be the only song where the solo I think really stands out on it. And from this point, it seems like a lot of these songs just start to blend into each other. And it's like nothing really jumps out at you. Well, there's one song, and it was the one I quoted earlier. Devil Digger, okay riff, nothing remarkable except for Ripper's delivery. It's okay. If you really want to talk about the lyrics of this album, definitely watch what Jake said. Listen to what Jake said on here. I'm not going to go into the lyrics like Jake did. It does make me, his description of lyrics does want me to listen to some of these again, although a lot of them really jumped out at me, particularly when Ripper was talking about the injustices of the world. Bloodsuckers, I should say. It's driving. It's got a breakdown in it. It's decent. In between, mm, okay, a good story, telling lyric. This song doesn't do anything for me at all musically. When what I wrote here is like this could have been recorded by several new metal bands. This is not Priest. This is Ripper. I can't. This is on the level, maybe even a lower level than some of those songs that I'm not fond of on Ram It Down or Point of Entry. It just doesn't stand out. Feed on Me is a little more guts to it. You got little breakdowns in here. Sometimes Ripper's vocals are really distorted. But then again, how many other bands were doing it at the time? You lose your identity. The riffs are okay. Subterfuge kicks ass. I know we're complete opposite of what Jake thinks. I think this kicks ass. I love this song. I mean, I'm like, finally, I'm getting into a song and I'm rocking out. So much passion in here. This what a great delivery. This just kills to me. Now, Lost and Found. You're right, Jake. I do like a song. I do like more acoustic songs, but outside of this chorus, this song doesn't grab me. It's like I think I've heard this before by somebody else. Um, so many bands were doing songs like this at this point. Again, chorus I like. Cyberface, no. That chorus just kills it. This Cyberface, no. Trying to be contemporary, not being true to themselves. It's just no. This chorus is not Priest. So not Priest. Metal Messiah, okay, decent closer, but no cathedral spires. That's for darn sure. um, okay, we're trying to end on a heavier note here, but no. A few good songs on here. Like if I was to make another Judas Priest mix CD in the near future, I'd certainly put Subterfuge on there or Hell is Home. Ooh, Jake, I love you, buddy, but I give you this a 4.5.
Respect.
Woo.
Hey, right back at you, man. But like I said, I mean, this is what's great about this series. We got Jake here, who came into the band later, and got and was listening to different kinds of heavy metal by this point. So he got into that music. So this is something more along what he would like. He obviously has great taste in music. It's just sometimes it's when you come in, So, listen with an open ear, and maybe someday I may like this a little more. But I mean, what Jake said here, I mean, you got to respect it. I mean, if someone loves it, an album has that much passion for it, you have to respect that. So it doesn't resonate with me, but I'm just a fan. So there you go.
Rock and roll. All right. Well, I'm probably going to be kind of like a little bit like Bill Alfonso here. Going to call it right down the middle because that's probably where my review is going to come in to you guys. So, my thought about this, it was much more pleasurable to listen to this than this was. This is jarring. This is abrasive. This is a aggressive, which don't get me wrong. I liked it from last week. I enjoyed this. It's metal, of course, because it's supposed to be angry and all that stuff. But now this was just more easier on the ears for me. And I think we mentioned this off air, when I said this was like an hour, 10 minutes, it almost doesn't feel like an hour and 10 minutes, so at least for me, it does kind of, it felt a lot shorter to me, although the songs go a lot longer. So for me, I would almost listen to this more than Jugulator, but that's just me. Let me see. Okay, so I don't think I can really add much to what you guys really said here. Machine Man, you got this alien like sci-fi fade in opening, and then of course you just get this chugging again, almost kind of an anthraxy kind of riff. Uh, you get a lot of weird effects in the solo. You get that kind of that wild harmonizer, dive bomb harmonizer thing, like Dimebag used to like using that kind of stuff a lot. Um, again, you get an adrenaline filled character. I think of what's that Jason Statham movie where they were
Transporter.
no, that it was like he plugged something into his head and it just like made him supercharged kind of thing.
Oh,
I can't think of what
okay.
they made like two movies from it. I can't think of the name of it, but that's kind of what it
I,
reminds. If you think of it, just like if it's in the comments, just holler. But anyway, that kind of reminds me of something like that. So it just kind of, but to me, it's a decent opener, but it's no painkiller. But it's still a decent opener. One on one, I agree. Yes, there's another song that I feel like that could be a wrestler's theme. Um, for me, this whole week, um, I, I've been watching a lot of like really extreme wrestling this week. I don't know. I got turned on to a channel called Blake 0561, I think it is. And this guy does commentary on like deathmatch stuff. So we're talking like Combat Zone Wrestling, ZZW, IWA, all these kind of crazy, people putting, you know, smashing each other with light bulbs and putting planes of glass, barbed wire, and all these other crazy, ridiculous things. He even does a series where wrestlers taking liberties, stuff like that. So I'm imagining some of these CZW guys walking out to something like one on one. And I'm thinking, oh boy, we're in for it now. Uh, just to me, a very mid-tempo, almost like a little bit of a weird opening, but boy, you want to get into the ring and confront what you're confronting in this song. To me, it just I think I thought it was a really good lyric. One of the things I noticed I wrote in my notes here, Kirk Hammett called he wants his wah wah pedal back.
Nice.
So, because I think wasn't it about 2002 or so that Saint Anger had come out, or how when did Saint Anger
three,
come out?
Oh, three. Yeah.
2003.
three.
So, and there was like no solos on that thing.
No.
So, maybe Priest stole his wah-wah pedals for that, and that's why he didn't have no solos. But anyway, um, I don't know. To me, again, I thought it was like just a great headbanger song. Probably one of my favorites on this album. Hell is Home. I can see why Faulkner likes this song. And yeah, I would love to see him convince Rob to like, hey, let's give this a shot. To me, what I just love the lyric again. It's just the outcast, and now he's running hell. Oh boy, look out! Jesus Christ, nobody invited me. I mean, come on. There is just so much like empowerment going on in this song to me. I just thought it's like, man, I kind of dug it. I love the chorus. I thought it was just really catchy. Um, Jekyll and Hyde again, kind of deriving from the novel. Yeah, that whole Two-Face thing. Yeah. Shortest song on the album, only about 3.5. So it's the shortest song on the entire album. Kind of a plotting riff, but kind of goes on. You get a little bit of a Nihilus and Chains kind of a flavor a little bit. Um, Not a bad song. Not a bad song. Would I call it classic? Not really. But still, not a bad track. Close to You, almost kind of it felt like a Pink Floyd opening for me. Maybe that's a little bit out there, but very dark ballad, just talking about grief and the ability to move on. For some people, moving on from certain deaths in one's life is not easy to overcome. I have people in my life I've lost that it got to a point where I actually had to write a letter to those people. And sometimes that's what it takes. You know, Everybody deals with grief differently. And a very haunting track. I thought it was a pretty good track. Uh, Devil Digger, very doomy, chugging kind of riff that I feel like I've heard somewhere before. I think John said the same kind of thing. It's like there's a lot of riffs that you feel like you've heard them in other places. And I
Right.
kind of feel like Devil Digger was kind of the same way. I noticed it's like it sounded like they are almost using like that Leslie sound effect, the Leslie organ sound effect through their guitars, a lot in this album. Um, let's see. Again, you kind of resisting that whole evil, the inner demon kind of thing, the temptation that we all deal with. Bloodsuckers. This is probably another one of my favorite tracks. Again, I think you just dealing with that whole court case thing and just how some lawyers can sleep at night. I love that. I love the little nod to Halford that Ripper does in there. It's like, how can that when he screams the "How can you sleep at night" line? I
How
just
can you
yeah, I'm not gonna try. My voice
get?
hasn't been doing too good today. So, to me, he just that's where he really sounded the most Halfordy sounding was on that line. But I don't know, I thought it was a good chugger song. Um, in between, very grungy, very doomy. Kind of that humanity just lies in gray matters. Because that's really what all of this is about. I'm rich and I'm poor. Um, just some of the lyrics. Just there's all these different lines that you're either here or you're there, and it's just there's it's all this gray matter, and yeah, not a bad song. I kind of the lyrics kind of got with me with that one. Feed on Me, I thought was I another one of my favorites from this album. A good chugger. It does kind of remind me of something that Rob Zombie or White Zombie would have done. But again, like you have said before, very evident of this time. At this point in 2001, I think out of the dozen or so bands, I think Jake listed in the beginning there, Creed was probably the only one I had actually listened to. So I wasn't really listening to a lot of this kind of stuff at this point in my life. So I'm not too totally familiar with all that new metally kind of sound, but sometimes you gotta have that person to lean on to help you fight for that cause. That's kind of where that "Feed on Me" comes from. So I like that. Subterfuge is this one's probably one of my favorites off this album. I probably dig this song the most. And another one I could see a wrestler coming out to. I love that groovy riff. There's just something about that groovy riff. That just really just infected me a lot. I loved it. Again, talking about the power of exception, and then the whole hypocrisy of people. I love the line of the evil mother, big brother, question authority kind of thing. It's like, you have the evil mother who's kind of was a little bit of a nod maybe to Pink Floyd The Wall a little bit there, but where does the mother go? Big Brother's kind of watching, but again, where are they really? But I don't know. I found it one of my favorite songs. Lost and Found. You're gonna love my line for this one. We have Judas Priest as they are sitting around the campfire and they just play Kumbaya.
Yeah. Yep.
That's kind of the vibe I got from this song. Although I do like the lyrics to the song. I thought it just the song itself just seems so out of place on for the rest of this album. But it's not bad. I will give it a pass. But it really does kind of make me feel like this is what Ripper, Glenn, and KK were doing around the campfire. I don't know. Anyway, Cyberface co-write with Scott. Um, yeah, the whole internet virus. I mean, these could almost be the internet prowlers, kind of thing. Which predators, which still is very prevalent today, but was probably just as worse in the late '90s. Um,
True.
yeah, you got a lot of weird vocals going on here with Ripper. Metal Messiah again, and kind of an Anthrax feel like opener. You get a lot of rap again, like probably that new metal influence. Not a bad album closer. I don't know if this was like their nod to maybe Glenn was already trying to put the wheels in motion to get Rob back in the band, and instead of calling it the Metal God, they called the song Metal Messiah. I don't know. Not a bad closer, but not. I felt like after Subterfuge that the album kind of started losing steam for me. So Demolition. So what would I give this? Probably a 7.5. I'll probably go right down the middle between you guys, literally. So but yeah, definitely I could find myself listening to this more than Jugular because Jugular just was so jarring. And it really, and like I said, watching all these deathmatch commentaries this last week or so, this music was really the most appropriate. Or the two albums were really the most appropriate to go along with that whole thing. So there you go. Now there is something I do want to address, and I'm just going to throw this out there um, on the show here. Um, I've had a couple requests. I now have this in my possession, and I have had a couple requests. It's like, oh man, why? I hope you guys do a show on this one. Maybe it'll be after we finish the series. I'll just throw that out there right now. Does that sound good for you, John?
I'm fine with that.
Jake, do you want to join on that one?
I'll join on that.
Boom. All right, look for
All
that
right.
after we finish the series. I promise we will do, and I have another guy who's like really big into this that I may talk about. So anyway, with that said, John, you're getting ready to see them tonight, but what kind of tour were they doing for Demolition?
All right. Thank you guys. 141 dates,
Wow.
but only 66 in the States and yeah, in the States. A lot of shows in Europe, and this time they were hitting Australia. And they also hit some shows in Brazil. And of course, they hit Japan. They started June 8th, 2001 in Protein, Switzerland. They played the next night, they played the Gods of Metal Festival in Milan, Italy. Also on the bill, I love to do these. Cradle of Filth, Gamma Ray, Megadeth, Motorhead, Nevermore, Primal Fear, Sabotage, and Wasp.
Ooh,
Ooh.
what a great bill.
Ooh.
Oh, Nevermore, Megadeth, Motorhead,
Yeah,
Wasp.
there were a lot more. I just only threw
And
in the ones that I
Sabotage?
really
Uh-huh.
know.
Yes, uh-huh.
Logan Collins, I'm talking to you on this one.
There you
Was
go. I'm
was
sorry.
Al Petrelli in Sabotage? No, what's his name? He would have been with Dave at that time.
No, I think
I
I think he might have been with a Sabotage at this point.
Okay.
I think Petrelli was on in
Because
the 2000s.
he was
I,
on with Dave in 2001 on No More Hero or The World Needs a Hero.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice.
Anyway,
When they were in Europe, just speaking of Sabotage and Poets and Madmen were the bands that were opening for them. So they did a host of dates with them. And they also did the Bang Your Head Festival in June 26, 2001 in Germany. Also on that bill, Armored Saint, Creator, Rose Tattoo, who I love, but sticks out like a sore thumb amongst these
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Uriah Heep, who kind of stick out like a sore thumb too, and Vicious Rumors were on there too. When they were in Europe, they also played Austria, Scotland, England, Germany, and Belgium. And they also hit Greece, Spain, and Argentina. Like they went to South America. They played 4 shows in Brazil and one in Mexico. Their last show in Europe was in Barcelona, Spain. Then they hit the US for a handful of dates. Universal Theater, Universal City, California for these dates. Their openers were Anthrax and Iced Earth. Anthrax were pushing We've Come for You All.
Hmm.
Oh, wait, it would have, I think it would have been, yeah, it would have been We've Come for You All. I was ready to say Volume 8, but that was a little earlier. They played at Smirnoff Music Center in Dallas, Texas, Roseland Ballroom in New York, New York. And then they went back to Europe and they played in the Netherlands, Belgium, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland. And then they went to Australia. They played in Perth on November 30th. They also played Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. The opener was Action in DC. If anyone knows who Action in DC is, please put it in the comments because I don't have a clue. Then we go back to Japan. We got Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka. And then they went back to England for December 19, 2001 at Brixton Academy. They played 25 songs. And this was the show that was recorded or live in London. There you go.
Very nice. Oh, he's got the DVD version too.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Went back to the US in 2002 to play the House of Blues in Las Vegas, Paramount Theater in Denver, Colorado, Ariel Theater in Houston, Texas, Orbit in Boynton Beach, Florida, DeKalb Atlanta Center, Atlanta, Georgia, Pierre's Entertainment Center, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Orpheum Theater, Boston, Massachusetts, Nation in Washington, D.C. Then they go to Europe again. They played in France, Germany, Poland, Czechia, Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, and Spain again. Then they come back to the States. They change their set list. They start opening with Bloodsuckers. And we'll get into the songs they played on this tour from Demolition as well. Excuse me, they also played the Pageant in St. Louis, Missouri, Convention Hall, Asbury Park, New Jersey. That was a festival also on that bill. Now we're going more 80s, early 90s. Dokken, Firehouse, LA Guns, Rat and Warrant. Geez, I wonder who was the heaviest band on this bill.
Yikes.
They played Brookhaven Amphitheater, Farmanville, New York, The Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York, The Asylum in Slidell, Louisiana, Sunken Gardens Theater, San Antonio, Texas. They played the Shrine Auditorium in Billings, Montana. And last show was the House of Blues in Chicago on August 25, 2002. For this tour, what was played off of Demolition? The song that was played the most was One on One. They also played Machine Man, Hell is Home, Feed on Me, and Bloodsuckers. So there you go.
Very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, so we get towards the end of that tour for them. And now there's starting to be some rumblings in the Priest camp. And with the extended family of the Priest camp. So, one particular incident is there was a particular party at the for the at the Walson Football Club, and Rob just happens to be there. And who does he see? KK. All right, Rob. All right. You all right, Ken? And that was it. Two downbeat, deadpan black country blokes who happened not to have met for nearly a decade sat down and had a good old natter. It was like we'd seen each other the day before. Nothing had changed. So now there's some rumblings. I wonder Bruce was coming back to Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
So now Rob's like, I wonder, because people are starting to say that what was it? The Halford band was like Resurrection, I believe it was, sounded more like Priest than Priest was sounding. You know, he makes note that yeah, they do Demolition well, and that didn't do any better than Jugulator did. So he's kind of throwing a little shade on him at on this one, but he's like, I finally sat down, wrote a letter I've been wanting to write for ages, the letter that I should have probably written years earlier. And I just poured out my heart to Judas Priest. I told them I had never wanted to leave the band. It had all been a miscommunication that had gotten out of control. I had got my desire to do solo work out of my system. I had missed them as people. I missed being in Judas Priest every day for the last 12 years. And we all made a lot more sense together as a band than we did apart. In summary, I wanted back in Priest more than I could possibly begin to explain. Could we try again? And that, my friends, would eventually lead to what we'll talk about next week, the Angel of Retribution. So, but before What did y'all think about Demolition? Please leave. Don't, you know, being as ugly and mean and nasty as you want to be. Be as kind as Jake was. You never know. It's all in who, it's all in how we got into the band. It's all about that point of entry, as we like to call it. So like, share, subscribe, put it all in the comments. You all know what to do. What did you think about this album? John, you are going to see the Mighty Priest tonight. Where are you seeing them tonight?
Santander Performing Arts Center in Reading,
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Okay. Very cool. Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, when they come through my neck of the woods, I will be flying back from Pennsylvania. So I will not be able to,
Oh yeah.
unless I figure out how to go see them in Atlanta with Chase and his wife, but I think I'm going to have to work that weekend. So I'm probably not going to get to see them on this tour, unfortunately. So, and then I have another friend who I think he's going down to Mobile, Alabama to see them.
Okay.
So I have a bunch of friends that everybody's going to see them but me. So
Jake, you going to see him this tour
I
or
was going to
no?
say, yeah, are you,
No, they're not. I think the closest they might be coming to this, there's a Denver date.
okay.
Almost another 2 hours from Denver, or 2 hours
Mm-hmm.
from Sioux Falls from me. But
Okay.
I don't know. Not probably not this tour. Hopefully next tour they come a
Hopefully
little
the next or the
closer.
second or another leg of the tour, maybe. But
Mm-hmm.
Right.
so yeah, that would be very cool. So all right, so you'll be able to see John in all kinds of different places. You can read about him in all kinds of different places. Uh, we're so thankful to have Jake back on the show. It was so great to hear his perspective on the Ripper Owens era. Dude, you gave just a wonderful perspective on both these albums, and we will definitely get you back on for when we decide to do this. Count on that. Um, in the meantime, y'all rock forever. We will see you next week for Angel of Retribution. For John the Music Nut, for Jake Not from State Farm, John Clauser, Johnny Metal the Metal Dad. Like I said, rock forever. We'll see you next week for Angel of Retribution. Take care.
Yes.